Greetings everyone, it is Saturday, first week of Diablo 3 is over. Got a little bit of time to give you a review, talk about the game a little bit before I go to work. First, before I do the review part, let me talk about the launch night, midnight release. Went down there to Best Buy. There was a pretty good line, about 25-30 people, not that many here. It's kind of surprising. And the guy came out from Best Buy, he said something about, if you didn't hear my speech before, certain lines you get in for, like, if you pre-ordered, if you bought the collector's edition or whatever. And if you're just here to pick up the game, you go to the right side like I did, and like it was a way shorter line. So if you pre-ordered the game, you're kind of in a longer line, and everybody else got it first. It's kind of funny. Everybody was like pissed, like, why did I pre-order this? And then there was one guy there that was there for Max Payne 3, and I was like, whoa, what the hell? He's like, yeah, Diablo is just getting Max Payne 3? And I'm like, I was asking him if it was for PC, because I just felt bad for him. But I guess it comes out later for PC. Anyway, we got this poster when I was down there, and tried to do, I was live streaming before, and then I tried to do a live streaming in my car when I actually got the game, but it didn't really work. And there was actually a couple of girls online. That's kind of surprising. At least I think they were girls. I'm sure one of them was. One of them I couldn't really tell. Anyway, that's pretty much how the midnight release went down, and then everybody knows about the first hour of Error 37s, and then I made that video. And then the first 2 or 3 hours we got the Nightmare Diablo, did some world firsts. You'll see that in my videos. And then there's been a lot of server downtimes, which is kind of surprising because it's not an MMO. You wouldn't really expect that much stuff to have to be done for a non-multiplayer or massively multiplayer game. But I was thinking it's probably a good idea because a lot of Asians that don't know how to stack up their snacks good and keep nutrients going and hydrated, they end up dying in LAN cafes because they play games way too long and they just forget to eat. But one of the best parts about Diablo is the preparations and getting all your snacks and having like a big group to like chow down with while you're playing. Because you can play a lot of Diablo just one-handed with the mouse. So you got your skills set up right. Yeah, so just reloading my Diablo 3 prep for week 2. Take 2. Got some more of these nice coconut water beverages. Some more rock stars, some monsters. Got some Mr. Pibbs. Some green tea for vitamins and nutrition. And got some frozen pizzas. So we're good to go. Week 2, Inferno mode. Let it begin. Anyway, it's kind of good that they have all these constant downtimes because it reminds you that you need to get off and take a shower and take a nap, eat some food. So I don't really mind too much. Like, I was playing hardcore. I was pounding energy drinks from like 4 a.m. till 2 p.m. the next day, and I'd already been up a long time. And then I was up for like 22 hours straight, and then I took like a 2-hour nap. I thought I was going to sleep a long time. I woke up like 2 or 3 hours later. About a 3-hour nap. And somebody said the server's been down for 2 hours. I'm like, yeah, that means nobody got to play. I was like, I only missed like an hour of gameplay. And I started playing again. I was good for like another 12, 16 hours. And I was just playing hardcore. So right now, currently, I'm like level 54. I'm in Hell Act 2, I think. Yes, I'm in Hell Act 2. And, I've been listening to some other people's podcasts and Wings of Redemption's review on it, and they come up with a lot of the stuff that I came up with, and they were saying how the game is way too easy because people are already beating it in the first week in Inferno. Like last night they probably beat it. I haven't checked to see what the news is, but they were on Diablo Inferno last night. Whoever that guild was, I don't remember. I don't keep up with stupid guilds, but they were saying that they should add not able to resurrect your party members during boss fights. That'll make it really hard. And then also throw in like a champion pack in there with them or something. Or give them, like some of the bosses have ads, but not many. Some more ads, make it harder. What I really don't like about the boss fights is the cinematic cutscenes that you have to skip every time. There's no option to turn that off, like if you do Izzul runs or Diablo runs. Especially the Diablo runs, because it's 3 phases. Every phase has a cutscene. You gotta wait. It's kind of annoying. It's not like the original Diablo where it's an open worldy big room. You got 3 rooms you got cleared. You can use them as like hidey holes. And you approach him carefully. It's like, no, you're stuck in a tiny little circular room. Deal with it. You can't get out. because it's an instance. I don't really like that style as much. Anyway, here's some things I noticed. There's only 4 gems. There's no skulls. There's no jewels. They don't do the same things they used to do, like putting a topaz in chest armor doesn't give you magic fine. And I don't know if that's going to be changed or what, but the stats are a little bit weird compared to Diablo 2. Skulls used to give you life leech, right? Life and mana leech. I've seen life on hit and life after death, and then give you a percentage of life. There's 3 different kinds of leech, but they're all like really low percentage rates, so not really sure. Like I've stacked a couple, got like maybe 10-12%, and it slowly refills your health up, but it's not like it used to be where you could just constantly spam your skill and keep filling your shit up and keep using your skill. Because I've got 2. I've got a discipline and a hatred bar. I gotta fill up hatred, or I can fill up a lot. No, there's no fill up hatred on hit, I don't think. It's just life. And it's kind of weird. The legendaries are not unique. If you've looked on the auction house, you've seen they have the original items like Manald Hill, Nagel Ring, Eye of Etlich, Frostburn's Manifest. What are those gloves called? Anyway, they all have different stats. They'll have some stats that are the same, but they vary on every item. But then they'll have other random stats like strength, dex, or whatever, and just some other weird stats that there's not really any items that are always going to be the same, where you just vary the amount to try to get a perfect version of it, I guess. And then a lot of the legendaries have really shitty stats. Like the drop rate is so low. I've never gotten a legendary drop, never. I'm Act 2, I'm hell, and I'm level 54. Never seen one. I've seen my teammates. We had a barb that had 2. Spam got a helmet last night. I think Taco might have got one, and somebody else got one. But I haven't seen any. Never gotten a drop. Never got a green drop. There's actually green drops. Those are so rare that I haven't seen anybody get one of those. I looked them up in the auction house. It's like Kane's Bindings or something. It's like horrible stats. It's like for level 10. But the drop rate is so insane. You're never going to get it at level 10. And if you did, it probably wouldn't even help you that much, so who gives a shit? What's the point of it? I don't understand. PvP I thought would be out on launch, but it's not. So, if they put it out at the beginning, where everybody's like leveling up, then you'd have to try and find out the right level to go start PvPing. Like, maybe I'm going to get 15, I'm going to start PvPing, I'm going to be the first person to get, like, this special PvP rank, because then you'd have to really figure out how to get, like, the world first of it, or to, like, dominate it early or something. Or figure out ways to like own fast. But now everybody's going to be like level 60s. They're going to know all of their skills right off the bat by the time the PvP is out, and they're all going to be geared to hell probably. So there's not really any kind of, first learning to PvP, twinking, kind of figuring shit out, because they're going to release it late. Here's something else I just noticed just now. There are supposed to be 3 artisans. There's supposed to be a mystic. We don't have a mystic. We got the jeweler and the blacksmith and no mystic. They've got the artwork for the caravan and everything, how it changes, but it's not in the game. Where is it? What does it do? It's supposed to, like, imbue stuff. So white and gray items have no purpose now. There's no reason to pick them up or even look at them. It's just trash that gets stuck in your inventory accidentally. So, but you can't imbue stuff, you can't enchant things, which I think the mystic's supposed to enchant things and, like, add certain stats that you want onto items. That way you could really customize instead of doing like blacksmithing and getting like a gambling for the stats you want. You could just imbue them yourself. I think they also were supposed to do something with the runestones, but then they took runestones out and they made them automatic when you level up. Which, if they'd made it where like runestones, you get them and you put them in your weapon or something, you apply it to a weapon, that way you have to keep finding them to keep being able to use the skills you like to use. That might have been something. But they didn't do that. This is kind of a spoiler. I don't know if everybody knows about this or not, but the cow level, the non-cow level Whimsyshire, it's not exactly what you would expect from if you play Diablo 2. It's just kind of a joke that they did. I guess you can get a lot of really good loot from it, and we did spend some time farming the items, which was kind of fun to get you gotta go a certain place, and it has to be a certain game where this guy actually spawns, and you have to find this certain chest that happens to be there to have the item in it. So every time you restart the game, that's kind of like how Diablo 2 works, but here's what I noticed is you can't go from different acts. Like if the item's in Act 2, and then you got another item in Act 3 you gotta find, you can't look for them in the same game. You gotta go back and start a new game, because if you go to Act 3, you can't take your waypoint back to previous acts or ahead to earlier acts that you've been to. You have to just stay within that quest that you've chosen. You can't go forward until you actually do the quest. That's not at all how Diablo is supposed to work. You're supposed to have waypoints, and when you discover them, that's a place that you can now go whenever you fucking want. No matter what act it is, no matter where it is, if you've unlocked the checkpoint, that's your checkpoint. You can go there now. I don't like this. Every time you want to farm a different boss, you gotta restart your whole game. I mean, it is really fast to restart your games, but your friends gotta find your name and click on it. They gotta rejoin, and people might get lost or not understand what's going on. So you can't just do like Act 1 boss, Act 2 boss, Act 3 boss, Diablo boss, and then just run bosses, because you'd have to start a new game for each one of those. So they need to fix that. That's like a big issue. But the cow level, like the reason cow level I think existed in Diablo 2 is to let you see how you would do against large numbers of non-enchanted enemies, like normal, just swarming hordes of cows that you had to work your way around and weave them into and handle the Zerg attack that they do, right? And you had a cow king that would make things a little bit crazy with super speed and lightning going everywhere. Pretty much it was mostly just normal enemies that were pretty powerful. And Whimsyshire, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, crazy shit. Flowers, unicorns, teddy bears, exploding blood everywhere, and there's a few champions in there, and then you get your loot out of rainbows. It's not really a lot of strategy to it, or a lot of crazy, kind of handling hordes. I don't really know if there's a good act, and I guess Act 3 is good for handling hordes. Because we were in Act 3, and we were trying to, we were having some trouble with those guys that stick their hands in the ground, and they bitch slap you a couple times. So we were trying to run past those and get to the checkpoints, and then we ended up pulling huge swarms of dudes, and it was really like original cow level. There's so much shit going on. And I was trying to explain to Spam how wizards are supposed to blink or teleport to the next checkpoint, and then everybody just stays in town and then goes on to the wizard. That's kind of a strategy that you can use. But I don't know how viable that is, because it actually uses up a lot of mana when you do that, I guess, or you can only use it so many times. And then Athene did that thing where he took 4 monks with their invulnerability and cycled them. And I think they're patching that, or they patched it already, or something. So, everything that you figure out that works, which is what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to find strategies that work with Diablo 2. That's how Diablo 2 worked. You'd find the good strategy that worked, and you'd spam it, and you would abuse it, and kind of work the system. That was the fun of the game, and they're patching it now. Like, Hammerdin's just standing there spinning hammers around. That seems like an exploit. Does, sorta. I mean, throw down a blizzard on them, freeze shit while you spin hammers around. That's kind of how people do bell runs. Nobody patched that out, so no, you can't do that. It's too cheap. I had a really good strategy. I hope they don't find that. See, once you do normal I was doing a lot of just shooting bows and arrows, relentless fire or whatever. Then you got the normal or nightmare, and that didn't work because you can't stand still. You got to move around constantly. So I started using chakrams. I liked how you had to change your abilities depending on the level. And then we would get to boss fights, and they were kicking our asses, so I had to come up with another strategy. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute, let me get my stun grenades on. I'll spam stun grenades, so I'm constantly keeping the boss bent over, sucking his own dick in a stun, while everybody else is pounding on him with DPS. That was really awesome. Then you get to hell, suddenly nothing gets stunned anymore. The grenades don't work. It's still a skill that should work. It's my skill. It shouldn't just disappear and not work anymore. But I can't stun anything. So now I'm doing Evasive Fire, which I never used. I thought Evasive Fire was shit. I couldn't figure out the use for it. It kept making me do backflips. I can vault forward and get in and out of trouble, but Evasive Fire I can't really control. So, hell, you're kiting around so much, you kind of have to use Evasive Fire. And I was using that knife that you throw that goes through everybody. And then I started using my multi-shot, which before, multi-shot, you get 3 shots and you're out of discipline, so you can't really use multi-shot, or hatred. It's not like, strafe and multi-shot in Diablo 2 where you can just spam it all fucking day and you get enough leaks pulling back in that you keep shooting it. You go in a room, shoot it 3 times and you're out. You're done. You gotta start using your signature skills to get your stuff built back up. But that's been working pretty good, I guess. Still working on a good hell build, but I like how you have to change your strats up. Alright, so talked about the cow level, now you can't abuse shit. Okay, magic finding versus gold finding. What's going to be more important? It looks like instead of magic finding your gear, it might be more efficient to just get gold find up and then go through and get enough gold where you can constantly blacksmith and get your gear that you want. I have this strategy because I'm a demon hunter. I can get ferrets out, and then I can solo most of Nightmare now. I can go through just killing Nightmare and get piles of gold with extra gold, or I can put on extra gold clothes I've got extra magic find clothes that tried a little bit last night, didn't have much luck. Spam had like 45% magic find. He got that unique legendary or whatever, like the first thing. I wasn't having much luck with it because it hurt my attack so bad it was taking longer to kill things and I didn't get anything really rare. I don't know how high magic find can go. On Diablo 2 it was like about 125% was a good starting magic find, and then about 400% if you really wanted to farm bosses, I think. And I'm up to like 75% right now. In hell, that's as high as I've gotten it. It doesn't look like there's a lot of ways to increase your magic find. So maybe gold might be better, just farming for gold and then buying stuff. Let's see. Attack speed is the same as your casting rate from Diablo 2. Like if you're a wizard and you're casting spells, that all goes by attack speed, I think. Or does it? I don't know. It seems like they've changed that a lot. I don't like how slow my guy is. Like the movement speed on your boots. Is that the only way to get movement speed to increase your running speed? Because you get into hell, stuff chases you down and beats you down so fast. I can't outrun just not even fast mobs, but just normal mobs that are really fast, like burrowing leapers and those guys that jump in the air in Act 2. The spear dudes that throw bombs or whatever. A lot of little guys like that can beat me down pretty easy because they're just fast and I can't outrun them. And my caltrops don't slow them down in hell. They just decided your caltrops don't do anything in hell. Deal with it. So I don't know. Maybe I gotta use different caltrops that permanently stun to get them to slow. I don't know. Is it feasible to make like a paladin sort of character with a barb or a monk using crazy attack speed? I don't know. I need to try that. But let's see, stats. Some of them are useless. If you're a barb, let's say, probably barbs have the best use of stats because I think they get a little bit of everything. If you're a demon hunter or a monk, you use dexterity. So if you have an item that has strength on it, it doesn't do shit for you. You don't need strength to be able to use certain items. Like I'm a demon hunter and there's certain items I just can't use. Two-handers. I guess I can't carry two-handers. I can't dual-wield one-handed swords. I found some really good swords with dex on them. I guess they're made for monks, but I was thinking maybe I could just go around with swords and throw chakrams, because I'm using grenades and chakrams, so I don't even need my bows. So maybe I got really good swords I can use and go around with. Good dex swords, I don't know. But it's not really feasible. I can use a sword and a shield, but there's just certain items I can't use. Not class-specific items. I'm talking about just heavy items like two-handers I can't use. If you're any class that's not a wizard, you don't need intelligence. So what's the point of having intelligence? Shouldn't intelligence give you like more discipline and hatred or whatever kind of mana you use? I don't think it does though. Some of the stats are just fucking useless. They don't do shit. Items that have skill modifications. Those are on the auction house. I haven't found one yet, I don't think, but I was seeing like there's an item stat that gives me like extra chance for grenades to stun or something, or something with my grenades, or certain skills that they kind of modify. So it's kind of similar to plus skills items in Diablo 2, but it's a little different. There's only like about 5 per class or something. I kind of figured this seems like the Demon Hunter is a little bit overpowered for me playing it compared to like the Witch Doctor. I was looking at how the Witch Doctor, you summon some your hounds and they die really pretty easy, unless maybe later on they get really strong. I was playing an early Witch Doctor and they seem to die really fast. But Demon Hunter pets, like the pig, he just doesn't die. I don't think he ever dies. He just keeps hitting stuff. He doesn't really tank very good. I thought he could tank good, but he doesn't like aggro shit. Ferrets, they might die. They seem to like disappear on me a lot. But the bat, I think, just stays alive forever. So Demon Hunter pets just kind of seem overpowered. The stunning ability is a little bit overpowered. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff with the Demon Hunter seemed like it was overpowered compared to other classes. While I was editing this, I just remembered something else that's really overpowered about Demon Hunters. Hope they don't patch this out because I love it, even though it's really cheap, super cheap. Your evasive shot with multi-shot, which is what I use, where it shoots 3 different directions. Kind of like the monk has a punch that does like 3 different directions. I don't know if it works the same way or not, but you would think you could only hit 3 enemies with a 3-directional shot, right? Because there's like 1 center and there's 2 off to the side. But you hit a whole fan of anything in that area. I hit stuff on the other side of the screen. Just anything in range, I'll just shoot it. And if there's a wall and there's an enemy behind it, it shoots through walls. Even if it's an enemy that's casting walls, like a waller enemy, or just a wall that's in part of the map, you just go around the wall where they can't throw any fireballs at you or whatever they do. If they're ranged, and you just shoot them. You can shoot through the wall. It's like Call of Duty, like punch through walls. It's pretty awesome. I've tried my throwing knife, and it doesn't go through the wall. So
That's the only skill, seems like, that actually goes through walls. Probably not meant to be working like that, but I like it like that, so don't nobody tell Blizzard.
I don't know how the barbarians work, but we were playing with the barb the other day that was like pretty much tanking for us the whole game with like 5-10% health. Like he was constantly, I guess he was getting a buff from having low health or something. That kind of seemed overpowered. Like barbs seemed like they can just live through anything and never die until like something really crazy. Everybody else dies and then the barb doesn't have any support. So it's really more of a tanking, DPS healing kind of game more than just any kind of class can kill anything. That's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, me and Spam were going through with a Demon Hunter and a Wizard, and we were doing pretty decent until we get to something with, like, invulnerability shields.
Go on.
Or we had those unkillable mobs.
Yeah.
We should take this tank in there and see if he can handle it. Figure out a way to kill him.
What's the point in going back there?
Do you think they might be killable somewhere?
Yeah, they'll be killable, don't get me wrong. Tank. If we had a tank, we wouldn't be able to kill them.
They're invulnerable, what hurts them?
You have to kill the boss to kill them, don't give me that bullshit.
That's a theory you're working on. Alright, let's find them. See if he can handle these bitches. There they are! Ah! They're molten and they have invulnerable shields. And kiting around, kiting around. Gotta take a potion. I got one busy. Oh, he just hit me. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Healing
Oh,
R
look,
over here.
the boss was about to die. And they all died.
What?
Oh, look at that. Fucking called it, didn't
They all lost their shields?
Yeah, they all died.
Holy crap.
That was something like, I didn't think you could just kill the boss and the minions would lose their shields because, like if you kill a boss that has fast champions or fast minions, they don't lose their speed because the boss died. But it would have been pretty neat if they made stuff that just, you can't kill it. You just gotta figure out a way to bypass it and get somebody lured away and run past it and everybody checkpoint onto that guy or something. That'd be pretty neat. Make the game just super hard. I don't like the durability loss though because I'm dying a ton and gold is really hard to come by for me. And I'm spending a ton of it just repairing my shit all the time. And you'll be in a boss fight and your shit will go down and you lose all your items. You can't finish the boss fight because you have no weapons or armor. There's a lot of combinations of minions that are pretty hardcore. I like jailing you and hitting you with the arcane laser spinny thing, or jailing and freezing so that you're constantly stunned, you can't move. Super fast pretty much kicks my ass with traps because traps don't really work. If you have something with mortar and then they have like illusion, so it makes multiple copies of the guy with mortars and just spamming mortars that are deadly laser accurate because the AI is so good. Pretty hardcore stuff. We had some groups of abomination looking things, you know, the big fat guys that have their hands up in the air and they were running like super fast and they would just belly flop onto you and just beat your ass. It was so funny looking. Oh, let me talk about BattleNet. Like, I thought BattleNet was going to look like StarCraft 2, sort of. Like, you'd have a game server list, you'd have all your people standing at the bottom or whatever, showing off your gear, kind of like the way Diablo 2 was. But it's, I really like the way they've done it. It's really fast. You got your whole friends list. It incorporated Facebook in there. You just click on somebody and you join right away if they're in a joinable game, and simple to use and easy. But wasn't what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting more of a, you know, server list where you can like have game descriptions where you can see what they're doing in the game or what the purpose of the game is. Instead of just seeing what level they are and what act they're doing or what quest they're on. Some people were complaining about the music. I don't know who doesn't like Diablo music, but you get some taste. The music's awesome. Okay. That's my last video that I just uploaded. You probably noticed that I pointed out that Diablo looks like a woman. He looks like he has high-heeled shoes on and he has tits. That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting like the really mean-looking Diablo with white spikes sticking out of his back. He does kind of breathe electrical fires and stuff. Prison you. What was the other stuff he used to do? That little trail of fire that comes out of the ground. He doesn't really do that, does he? I don't know, it just seemed like the Diablo fight was really lame. Boss fights are really not that hard compared to like Champions. And there's too many cutscenes. Get rid of the fucking cutscenes. If you're going to be grinding bosses, you don't want to sit and hit skip every time. There's not really any reason to reroll the same class, because unless you're doing hardcore, because you can just change your skills whenever you want. There's no reason to like. You used to have to make different kinds of sorceresses if you wanted like a frost sork and a fire sork, or if you wanted a javelin Amazon and a bozon, you had to like make a whole new character because you only pick your skills once. There's no like respecking. But there's not really any reason to reroll in this game. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I guess you could reroll on European and Asian servers if you wanted to have a character on every server, but it's not really any reason to change your builds because of it. They used to have teleporting wizards or sorceresses to like get you to the waypoints in Diablo 2. It might be viable for other classes to do something like that, because I can vault as a demon hunter, and I know monks can do this healing aura that stuff can't run past, so it's like an area denial thing. So there might be a way for everybody to sort of teleport around if you can dodge the attacks, sort of, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of neat. They need to put a hotkey in for switching builds instantly. And like, say I've got a build with Caltrops and Vault, which I pretty much have on all of my builds is 1 and 2, and then like a bunch of other skills. And I have another whole setup set up for like some number on my keyboard, and I hit that number. Everything except those two that are the same would reset their cooldowns, and it would immediately switch them out. That way, if you go from like grinding normal mobs to a boss fight or whatever, when you change your whole build, you just hit a button instead of having to go in and remember where everything goes, remember what runes you use. That's another like key issue that you need to fix like immediately, first thing. That and the changing the checkpoints where you can go any act. That's the two biggies. A lot of the items, like they left out a lot of the names of different types of items from Diablo 2, and they've replaced them with weird Asian sounding names that I've never heard of any of this stuff. Like a pavis, for example. I'd heard of a pavis, so it's not like I think they took a lot of German words and a lot of like a Zweihinder was one of the items in Diablo 2. That's a German word, I think. What was the other kind of stuff? I think there might have been some Asian words in Diablo 2. But the kind of stuff they're putting in some of the weird ass names, and like Hakyo or Hakyu or something like that. I don't think they got Daibo staffs, and then they got like a bunch of monk sounding stuff. But even like bows have weird Asian sounding names. Like they just made up a bunch of shit. I don't know if this is real stuff or what, but some of the names of items, you can't tell if it's a hat or if it's a bow or if it's a sword or what the fuck is it. It's just some random weird word that I don't recognize. And another thing is the weapons are kind of like, remember how in World of Warcraft, if you're a wizard, you'd use your staff it's just stuck on your back. You didn't actually use the staff to cast any spells. You'd use your hands. So it's just kind of there to give you stats. That's kind of how my bows have become when I'm using chakrams and grenades and stuff. I don't shoot them. They're just there. I guess all the stats still count. I can still do the leech that they have on them and stuff, but it's not really any point for them. I'm just there for the dex so I can get my chakrams to do damage. So it's kind of weird. And then like the monk's staffs, I guess they kind of use them a little bit, but then they mostly do punches. So like their staff's just stuck on their back and they're doing punches. So the weapons don't actually use the weapons the way they're supposed to be used. That's kind of a weird thing. But that's all of my little notes I've got. Overall, somebody asked me what I would rate Diablo 3, and I said 9.5. Because Diablo 2 is technically a better game. It's designed better. But, you know, Diablo 3 is fun, and I'm really excited for it right now. And graphics are great, and the skills are fun as hell to play. Music's great. Just a lot of fucked up stuff with it, and it's not really as good as Diablo 2 was. There's not the whole rushing around looking for certain games that have trading and people ninja looting and ganking and, you know, trying to get Uber Diablo to spawn and cow levels that are fun and all that kind of stuff from Diablo 2 just isn't in the game. But there's probably going to be 4 or 5 expansions where they try to leech our money out, and they'll probably fix some things as we go. Maybe it'll be better than like World of Warcraft. You start out with a really good version of the game, and then every expansion it got worse and worse and worse until now it's just a fucking piece of shit that everybody knows and everybody realizes. And if there's anybody still playing World of Warcraft thinks it's a good game, suck a dick. So you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Hopefully this is a game that starts out decent but kind of bad, and then it gets progressively better as we go. But what are the odds of that? It's fucking Blizzard. They don't know what they're doing. That's all for now. I guess it's... What time is it? Holy shit, I gotta go to work. I don't even have time to edit this.